Car wash season is finally here, at least for most of us, because like here in Colorado, it's literally 90 degrees today at the end of March, which is absolutely insane, and there is no snow in our future. So I figured this was a good time as everybody's starting to break out their pressure washers, do their big spring cleanups on their vehicles, to talk about drying towels, because just as when we're washing our car, we're trying to have the safest, best techniques using high quality chemicals, high quality products, that also comes down to the towels we actually use to dry our vehicle. So we've got three main competitors here: the Rag Company, Autofiber, and the House of Rags. I view these as the three most popular brands for microfiber towels out there, and we're going to figure out who has the best drying towels. So welcome back to the channel. Let's jump into it. As always on this channel, I'm going to give you as much information as humanly possible going to nerd level 9000. So we're not only going to give you pricing on these, size differences, GSM, blends, country of origins, we're also going to be putting them to the test on a big 3-row SUV here. So we'll be taking each individual towel, talking about all the pros and cons to these, all the specs on them, and importantly, seeing how much of the vehicle you can actually dry, and subjectively telling you how nice each one of these towels is to use. Now, do understand when it comes to drying towels, everybody has their preference, right? You might prefer something like a huge 2200 GSM drying towel from the House of Rags, or you might actually like something like the Slim Dryer from the Rag Company that's really good at getting in nooks and crannies, but can't pick up absolutely everything on the car. So we'll be able to compare all of these and tell you whether I like them or I don't. Now, understand that I might prefer something that you don't, and that's totally okay. At the end of the day, we're just trying to enjoy washing our vehicles, keeping them clean, and doing it in the safest way possible. So I'll try and be as fair and objective as humanly possible with all of these, but also giving you my subjective feedback. Now, a couple of quick notes here. I have purchased pretty much all of these towels except for two. The House of Rags supplied me with two of these over here. I purchased the rest of their line because I thought this would be a really interesting comparison. That doesn't mean this is a sponsored piece of content. I can guarantee you that does not dissuade me from saying good things or bad things about the products they sent me whatsoever. I'm going to be completely real with you guys and totally honest. A couple of other notes here. I have tried to size these all to around the same. Understand that something like the Autofibers here are typically in 20 by 40s. The Rag Company uses a mix between square 30 by 30s. They also use 25 by 30s, 25 by 36s. It can get confusing, so I tried to get them all the same to make it as fair as humanly possible. The other quick note I want to mention here, I've already washed all of these and they've already been through the dryer, done the low tumble dry on these. Understand one thing about the House of Rags towels is one thing that people love about these, you can take them directly out of the package and immediately start using them. The Rag Company as well as Autofiber always recommend you actually put these through the washer first. I typically do that with all of my towels anyways, just make sure there's nothing on them. They're clean, ready to go. We've used Rags to Riches from PNS for all of these, dried them. So let's get into the video. So we'll start things off here with the Rag Company. We have 4 towels from them: the Slim Dryer, the Gauntlet, the Liqud8r, and the 1500. We'll start off here with the Rag Company Slim Dryer. This is a 25 by 35 twist loop 600 GSM towel retailing for $21. The makeup of this is a 70-30 blend out of South Korea. This is also a dual-sided towel, as you can see, twist loop on one side and on the other side something more aimed for glass. And I think that's one of this towel's largest drawbacks, other than not having super high GSM. But this will be great for drying intricate areas. Starting off with a little swipe, picks up water, super nice there, feels nice and smooth, has a really good not drag to it, I guess is the best way. Wow, picks up water exceptionally nice there. It is a little bit on the flimsy side, right? So this is not a super high GSM towel. This is only coming in at 600, so that's something to consider here. Right, so coming down the side here, I think one of the main benefits to a towel like this, if you're a quarter fold towel guy like myself, can get it really into some nooks and crannies here. Now we've just dried the entire hood. How's it doing here? Let's see on the glass. It's leaving a little, yeah, it's leaving a little bit behind already, isn't it? So we might even already at the point where we got to flip this over. Yeah, it is streaking a little bit, still leaving some water residue behind. It's kind of flip this to the opposite side of that. Seems to be doing a little bit better there. Man, still streaky a little bit. All right, so still streaking here. I do want to see even folded into quarters, no problem getting right around there. So that's pretty darn nice. So dry that down. Yeah, picks up water pretty good. I think we just got that first side a little oversaturated there. Right, so we've worked our way around the car. We have not got the windshield or the roof now. And first thing you'll notice, this thing is already pretty wet. Now I think it'll do some of the roof. I'm not optimistic it's gonna do the whole thing as it's slowly sliding here. So we've done the roof here. Let's see how it does on the glass. Honestly, pretty decent. It's still leaving a little bit behind for sure. I wouldn't say it's bad though. I mean, man, that's pretty impressive for a 600 GSM towel. Yeah, now you can start to see we're pushing around. So quite a bit of water for this towel. I think first off, I think it actually did a little bit better than I anticipated it to do. It actually, I mean, yeah, it dried an entire vehicle. Okay, on the glass, it's still a little streaky. I don't know if you guys can see that with all the focusing and stuff like that. I think the main drawback for me here is I'm never gonna use this side, right? I'm not gonna use this really on glass. I think it's just kind of a waste. And you know, this is still a $20 drying towel. This side is, yeah, completely soaked here. I'd be surprised if it could really pick up much more than it has here. I think it kind of hit its limit here. Honestly, and I'm not trying to be rude here, but I do think this towel, the main purpose of this is for Instagram photos and yeah, to just take photos for social media and do marketing so that you can put all of this stuff on here. I'm not a big fan of this, not really aimed towards me, but actually, you know, a pretty decent towel here. Where I think this could be useful is, you know, after you dry a car and you want to get into the intricate areas, being that this is so thin, it's actually perfect for that, getting around mirrors and things like that and into grills and all that type of stuff. But again, I just like to have a second side there. So I don't know, not necessarily a towel for me, but not a terrible showing here whatsoever. Next up, we have the Rag Company Gauntlet. This is a 30 by 36 twist loop style towel that has a GSM of 900, retailing for $35. The makeup of this, same again, a 70-30 blend out of South Korea. The thing that I really like about this, nice soft edges, it's quite plush but also still quite maneuverable, and importantly has two different colored sides on it. And I know this is a towel that a lot of people really like. Now, full transparency here, this is a towel that I have used in the past. It's still not my favorite. So let's get into this. Now, this is the biggest size towel from the Rag Company here. And immediately as I wipe this, I can tell you why I remember I don't love this towel. It's a little on the grabby side, and it's just a little bit different from what I'm kind of used to. It's also kind of an awkward size, right? Being that 30 by 36, this is a little bit more of a square. It's also quite a large thing to do single-handed. So if you're like me and like to dry it with these sections throughout it, potentially not the towel for you here. So let's check here how it does in some more intricate areas. Honestly, pretty good. And I think that's one of the benefits of this towel. It's 900 GSM. So I think that's actually a pretty good size. It does really, really nice on the glass here. It is feeling a little bit smoother as we start to pick up a little bit more water. Yeah, I definitely like this more than the first Rag Company towel, that's for sure. Noticing a little bit here, starting to leave a little bit of water behind for sure. Right, so let's do a quick door handle test. So very easy to get in and out around there. Yeah, feels pretty darn good. So if I now open this up, yeah, picks up water pretty darn nice. It's really interesting. This is a very soft drying towel, and I think potentially we might talk about this more later on in the video. The softer these are and not quite as coarse on the twist loop here, the less, or I guess the more they actually drag here. And it seems like the coarser this is, the less friction it has. I don't know if that makes any sort of sense. It's just a difference of feel here. It's not like it's leaving lint behind by any means, but it's just got a little bit of grabbiness on it for sure. Right, so just finished drying the entirety of the car here. Now, I did quickly come up here on the glass and I only used the gray side of it. I just wanted to see how much it would pick up. And you can start to see this is getting to the point of leaving a little bit of water behind. Now we do still, of course, have the white side here. And overall, I gotta say, coming back to this, it performed better than I actually remember, but it's also the case, and I really don't know how to put it into words. There's just something about this towel I just don't love. I don't know what it is, because honestly, I think there's a lot of great things here. Number one, I really like that you have two different colors. Very much helps you stay organized, and again, not picking up that dirt off the bottom. I don't ever really love to use towels, you know, in the full extended mode like this, if you will. I do think it's really nice how thin this is to be able to get into nooks and crannies and grills, around mirrors, around door handles, things like that. I do really appreciate the edge that they have on here. So I don't know, maybe I'm being a little bit too hard on this towel. I'm just not blown away with this thing. And again, it's also kind of an awkward size, and they have other sizes of this as well. And I've always felt like this one's just slightly too big and the smaller version is just slightly too small. So it's always kind of that Goldilocks thing of like, it's just not perfect for me. Again, it has this weird little drag to it. And I think really that's because this is quite a bit softer than you'll see from some other towels here in this test. But an interesting showcase here. I mean, yes, it absolutely dried a big 3-row SUV. So definitely good there with only 900 GSM. Definitely performed better than the first Rag Company towel we tried here, but let's keep moving on. The Rag Company Liqud8r has always been one of my favorite drying towels. This is a 25 by 36 twist loop 1100 GSM towel retailing for $29. This has a makeup of a 70-30 blend, but this one is actually from China. This one really features, in my personal opinion, kind of the perfect balance between thickness, absorbency, as well as still being able to get the perfect size for all those intricate details. And I've always been impressed with the feel of this. As you can see, just really, really quickly and effortlessly picks up water. And really like this, honestly, just way more than the Gauntlet. I don't know what it is about this towel that I prefer so much more about the Gauntlet. Again, this is a little bit more coarse here, and the glide across the surface, same exact surface, feels way, way different. The other one almost has more of a suction feel on there for sure. So let's continue on here down the side. If we just keep it folded into quarters, you can still see it's very maneuverable in here, getting all those nooks and crannies. Let's see how this does up here on the glass, leaving absolutely zero streaking whatsoever. And yeah, that I think is just the biggest thing of why I like this so much more than the Gauntlet, is just the feel of it and the lack of just water spreading everywhere that I do sometimes feel on that. And it's just, yeah, really impressive towel. Now, truth be told, my whole hopes with this is to potentially find something better than this. I am totally okay if there's something else out there, might be a little bit more expensive, or it might surprise me, and I would be definitely willing to change these out. But there's just a lot of things that I really appreciate about this towel. So as we unfold the towel here, come in, you can see easily goes right in between the door handles there, and then very effortlessly just picks up water like nothing. And yeah, been a really, really impressive towel that I've used for quite a few years, honestly, at this point. So the Liqud8r here did a phenomenal job at drying the entirety of the car, and I only used one side. Hopefully this doesn't slip down right now, but again, lots to like here. Now, this is not the plushest towel on the planet. Again, right at 1100 GSM here, but the important thing here is you can still see some areas that are pretty dry. If I flip this over here, you can see, yeah, it did leach through quite a bit, and I only tried to use one side on this. This is pretty much completely bone dry, ever so slightly damp there, and definitely holds water on the corners. Again, I think the biggest thing for me here, why I really like these towels, is you can get them in a multitude of sizes, and this feels like the perfect size for me. Again, you might like a little bit larger, fluffier towel, but this is kind of the do everything towel, where in my experience in the past, what I felt is some of the other drying towels that are, you know, crazy high GSM are just a little bit too hard to maneuver. You can't, you know, fold them into quarters, which is my preferred way to actually dry a vehicle. But again, really good showing here. I think it did a great job, and just, yeah, I've always been really, really pleased with these microfiber drying drying towels. They also have their new Color Burst line. And I should mention, actually, coming up with their Color Burst line, I ordered a bunch of those. I think I ordered like 6 or 8 of them in different colors and everything. They actually ended up refunding me that because they had an issue with their dyeing process, apparently. So I do want to give them a shout out for that, but it's also like, shouldn't you test stuff before it goes out to customers? So a little bit of pros and cons there. Just wanted to highlight that it's a good thing and also a bad thing that they launched a product that wasn't up to their expectations. If you're doing quality control, make sure it's done right in the first place. But as always, Liqud8r, one of my favorite drying towels out there, super flexible, the kind of do everything drying towel. This is the 1500 from the Rag Company. As the name suggests, a 1500 GSM twist loop style in a 30 by 30 size, retailing at $35. This is a 70-30 blend, also like the Liqud8r from China here. The biggest drawback to this towel is it is a little bit large for those intricate areas and the actual color of this. This is one of those towels, if you wash it and dry it with other towels, will definitely turn it bright red. So the 1500 here is quite an interesting towel from the Rag Company, and I originally purchased one of these a little while ago. This is a brand new fresh one, and I gotta say I had some issues with this. Now, number one, this is higher GSM than the Liqud8r. It also, importantly, feels quite a bit thicker on the edges and has quite a bit more heft, obviously, because of that GSM here. It's also a different size, this being a square towel, just very different to use here. And it's also just in general a whole heck of a lot thicker. So folding this into quarters, working around areas like the mirrors, it's not undoable, but it's definitely a little bit more cumbersome. Now, with that, you still get great, amazing removal of water here. As I'm just scooping this around, just does a great job on all of the windows here. Yeah, just absolutely effortless. But for me, it's just a little bit of an awkward size and definitely gets up there in the GSM, which, you know, for me, this is definitely on the borderline, which kind of scares me for getting into some of the Rag Company stuff, you know, that's 1800 and 2200 GSM. Let's see here how it does around the handles. So if I get an edge in there, totally fine and dandy, not a big deal whatsoever. Yeah. Totally fine for working in there. So I think most people are going to use this towel in this type of manner, and that's totally fine because it does still a very, very nice job at picking up water. So just a totally different experience here from the 1500. So the 1500 here honestly has me scratching my head a little bit because I remember using this towel and I was like, I don't know if I actually love it. And then using it right after the Liqud8r here, I kind of do like quite a few things about this towel. So it is a little bit on the thicker side, so you kind of have to change how you use your towel, but I'm really impressed in how well it actually dried this vehicle, including the roof, all of the glass on one side. So the crazy thing here is if I flip this over, guys, this is basically bone dry back here. There's a few spots that are a little damp, but mostly completely dry, where this is, you know, pretty damp on that single side. So the absorbency of this towel, pretty impressive. I also do kind of like a little bit of the thickness of this. It still does a good job at getting into grills and small areas like that. It's not quite as precise as the Liqud8r and a little bit harder to use one-handed. So this is definitely more of a towel you want to spread out, use like that. Now, there is one main issue with this particular towel and why I cannot recommend it. And this comes back to the dyeing process from the Rag Company. So they've used a super bright red dye in this. And what I can tell you from using another one of these towels in the past is I washed it by itself, like I do with all my towels. And then I took it out, I dried down a vehicle, threw it in with another towel in there that needed to be washed. It was a gray towel, and it completely turned it pink. So to me, they seriously have some issues with their dye, and I don't want you guys to ruin your wash mitts, ruin your drying towels with a towel like this. So that to me is something I just cannot recommend. And again, Autofiber gets away with it because they've got a red side on one side that's a little bit more pale than this and blue on the other side, and there's no issue of bleeding. So that to me, big problem here, and why I can't recommend the 1500. But this is also opening my eyes into some higher GSM towels that I previously thought I might not like so much. Next, we move on to Autofiber, and here we have the Dreadnought, the Dreadnought XL, the Dreadnought Max XL, as well as the Amphibian dryer. Starting off with the smallest of the bunch, the Autofiber Dreadnought. This is a 20 by 30 twist weave 1100 GSM towel retailing at $24.99. Now they use a 75-25 blend from China, and one thing that I love about all of the Autofiber towels here is that they use two different style colors on each particular side. This always helps with organization while you're folding up these towels in general, keeping you well organized while drying your vehicle. Now let's be honest, this towel in this test is a little hamstrung just because of the size compared to the others. So definitely quite a bit smaller, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. So again, I really like to use these into quarters. It's great that you can flip these over. You can really keep control of it. And the whole purpose for doing that, guys, is so that if you ever miss something while you're doing your contact wash, instead of picking up something from the bottom of your vehicle, some dirt and grime, you basically dry this down, flip it over as many times as you need, and you're good to go. The water pickup here feels really, really nice. And again, this is quite a small towel. I kind of think the 20 by 30 is really nice if you have maybe a slightly larger towel, then want to come back around to all those nooks and crannies, because this is super nice and thin, still very, very absorbent, and seems to be working pretty well here. Now this towel, if I fold this yet again into quarters, is very manageable. So that's the one nice thing with not having a super, super high GSM pile on this and having a little bit smaller towel. But I just wanted to get a good feel for this. And as you can see, it's leaving that glass perfectly smooth all the way throughout. Now, of course, we don't have a ton of water in this, but that's still pretty darn impressive on glass, to say the least. Now on a towel here, it's very simple to get right in all of those nooks and crannies. Some other towels will definitely struggle even just getting into there, so that's pretty darn awesome. You can see we're getting a little bit saturated here, but nothing too extreme. Well, from drying the entirety of the car, most of the glass here, you can still see a little water residue left over, and most of the roof, it's definitely at the point where it's oversaturated. I'm actually quite impressed by this little guy. Again, a 20 by 30 here is actually pretty impressive. You can see that is well saturated at this point now. But for a single, relatively inexpensive drying towel, this is actually pretty impressive. So this just makes me more intrigued to try the rest of the Autofiber lineup. Next, we move on to the Autofiber Dreadnought XL. This is a little bit bigger than the original Dreadnought at a 20 by 40 size, which is honestly a little bit awkward if I do say so myself. This features a twist weave double layer 1100 GSM towel for $30. The makeup of this is a 75-25 blend from China, also multicolored as well. The Dreadnought XL here is kind of an interesting one because I personally think it's a very awkward size. So you can see I've got this folded in half now. Now, if I were to want to fold this again, this is also kind of an awkward size. So honestly, I think I really prefer the original Dreadnought size in a 20 by 30. And again, it was enough to dry the entirety of the EV9 here. So this one's a little awkward for me. I think maybe the way to do this is to actually fold this potentially into thirds or so, but then it's going to be a little bit harder to actually reconfigure here. So that feels about right to me. Again, I know everybody's got their own preferences, but still same great drying there. You can see I did have to go over that one spot a little bit more, but pretty darn impressive. So we've flipped this over now, and as you can see, still maintains a lot of the maneuverability of just the OG or smaller Dreadnought here. It does a really fantastic job. Yeah, really fantastic job at picking up water off of the glass, leaving it completely streak-free here. That is a really, really nice setup. Now again, the great thing with this towel, still very easily enabled to get around very small, intricate areas there. And again, very much like that you have a blue side and a gray side. I always think that's super helpful, and I'm glad that Autofiber actually thinks of that. So we have completely finished drying down the EV9, including the entire roof here, and this is where we ended up. So you can see quite saturated on one side, and still a bit to go over here. So I gotta say, overall, I'm really impressed with this. I think my biggest con with this towel, I just feel like it's a very awkward size. I really wish it was more a 25 by 36. I don't really love the 10 extra inches longer here than the regular Dreadnought. I know that's what she said. But yeah, I think this is pretty darn nice. Actually pretty impressed with it. Feels very high quality. Really appreciate that they have two different colors on here. I'm going to continue to say that for the rest of the Autofiber ones, but very impressive results here. Easy enough to dry a 3-row SUV. Next, we move on here to the Dreadnought Max XL. Now this is also a 20x40 towel that is also twist weave like the Dreadnought XL, but this is a triple layer 1400 GSM towel for $35. This features a 75-25 blend made in China and also double colored here, and importantly, not as deep red as the Rag Company 1500. So immediately here, I can feel the difference in GSM. This also has their triple thickness to it, and it feels a little bit stiffer, a less kind of wet noodly, if you will. So again, same awkward drying size here. It's not my preferred, but man, does that pick up water pretty darn quick there. Pretty impressive. I'm curious to see how this will do on the more intricate areas. All right, so let's come up here to the glass. Feels really nice there as well. And again, it's not so thick that you can't really get it into a little bit more intricate areas, but man, does it do a nice job on the glass. I mean, leaves absolutely nothing behind. I, again, just kind of feel like the size is a little awkward, and especially that this is a little bit thicker than the Dreadnought XL. Yeah, it does feel a little different, but not bad by any means. It very much reminds me more of the 1500, just not quite as crazy there. As you can see, I left a little behind. Picks it right up. So let's see in the handle how this does. Still able to go right in there, get right around it, and plenty of drying capability there. Pretty impressive towel. Let me finish this off and see how it does. So we're easily able to complete the entirety of the EV9, including the entire roof here. Now, I want to show you this because I essentially used and tried to only use one side of this towel. So as you can see over here, it's a little damp in the corners, in the middle, yeah, a little wet. As I pop this over, guys, this is basically dry here on the other side. You can see it's definitely wet on the edges. That is actually pretty insane. So that's an entire 3-row vehicle there, and you can see pretty much dry throughout the center of this. This towel is really impressive. Again, I would say my main drawback here is really that awkward size of this. Man, honestly, if this was a 25x36, I think this might be one of my new favorite drying towels. I really do appreciate that triple layer in here. You can see it doesn't soak through to the other side, and you do have a little bit more rigidity on here. So I think this towel, now that I'm thinking more about it, is kind of optimized for the guys who hold it up here as well as down here and dry the side of the car kind of with your bottom hand there as well as with your top hand. It's kind of optimized for that, but a really, really impressive showing here. I mean, this is genuinely bone dry here in the center, so super impressive there, and honestly I think a pretty good value. Lastly, from Autofiber here we have the Amphibian, which is a very interesting towel. It's also a 20x40 size, but it's a half twist, half mother fluffer is what they actually call this. This is an 1100 GSM towel, a 75-25 blend from China for $24.99. I'll be interested to see how this does in this test with that mother fluffer side. We actually go down 300 GSM from the Dreadnought Max XL. Their naming structure a little all over the place. I'm curious to see what this feels like. Wow, really don't like that. I can tell you that right off the bat. It drags a lot. So I think the concept of this towel is this is kind of your finish dry. So if you're leaving any streaks behind, so you'd likely start here and then come to this side. So this is a towel really meant to be folded into quarters here, or in half, I guess you would say, and use your 20x20 side on this, and then go through, dry the car, and pick up any residue like this. I'm not necessarily sure the need for that, as their other ones did a great job at actually drying glass, but man, the tackiness on this, I am really not blown away with. I mean, that is like kind of dragging cement over there, or honey over there. It is not my favorite. So I do want to see here, yeah, it's just really, really hard to maneuver as we move down here. This is definitely not meant for this, right? So I think the whole purpose, again, come back in here, you're gonna dry this stuff, and then you can come back in and finish it. But I really don't like this. It really much tries to roll over on itself. This is, I think, not a towel for me for sure. So yeah, I think we'll end it off there because I think they have some better options in terms of microfiber towels. Right, so stopped it there, and again, it just acts like a suction cup on the surface of the vehicle here. Really don't like that. I really do like this side, but then again, I really don't think you actually need this. I understand this is, you know, a little bit softer, a little bit more plush, but again, the Max drying towel, even the XL, their normal XL towel with the double-sided twist loop on it, I think is more than satisfactory. So this is definitely a one I would pass on. This is where we move into some big boy drying towels, the House of Rags. Their lowest GSM here, 1200. Their highest, 2200. As you can see, these are some big plush boys here that are definitely quite a bit of money, but also that South Korean quality. We'll start off here with one of the most intriguing towels to me, the House of Rags Weapons of Mass Drying. Okay, first off, pretty interesting name there. This is a 24 by 35 towel. It's a dual pile twist loop, which seems pretty interesting. 1200 GSM, a 70-30 blend from Korea for $29.99. Not sure I love the name, but I hope to love the drying. A little bit grabby, to be honest. Kind of similar there to the Autofiber with that mother fluffer. It does have a little bit of grab, and oddly kind of similar to the Gauntlet as well. It's somewhat of a similar feel there. That's pretty interesting. This was a towel I was really excited for. Let's come over here with a lot of water. I don't know, man, it sure dries really well. I mean, absolutely zero water left behind. Let's go down the side of the car. So what's interesting that I'm thinking about here, this is, you know, 1200 GSM, and our Autofiber Dreadnought Max was 1200 GSM, right? Or no, 1400. So it was more than this, and this is a thicker towel, and that is one thing I can say I'm not necessarily loving here. And I hope you guys can see this. I am starting to push a little bit of water around already, and it's a little on the grabby side for my actual liking. So a little thick, a little grabby here, and yeah, definitely leaving some water behind here, and I'm only, you know, on my second side just doing the glass and the hood here. Pretty interesting. So I do like the actual size of this towel, and it seems like here, yeah, pretty good maneuverability. Man, I'm really underwhelmed, to be totally honest with you guys, with just kind of the grabbiness that this overall has. It feels like it's not gliding over the surface like a lot of the other twist loops were. So I'm working on drying the windshield and roof now, and you can see it's definitely leaving some water. Now, I intentionally left the opposite side here to be totally dry. So it really just interesting distinction there between the Autofiber Dreadnought Max XL. Gonna remember that name for sure. But yeah, definitely starting to streak here. It's not to say this is bad. I mean, this is, yeah, a big car here, so we'll be able to flip this over and have a fresh side. It's just interesting, basically, we didn't have to use the other side at all, and we haven't even sort of gotten into the roof up here with this. Kind of expected this to be a little bit more, but I guess GSM is down a little bit. Also, flipping this over up here, I hope you guys can see quite a bit of streak. So this towel is like almost at the point of full saturation here, to where it's still leaving some behind. So finishing off the glass over here, yeah, it's definitely not picking up as much as I anticipated. I got to be totally honest with you guys on this one. I think I'm a little underwhelmed with this towel, and coming into this was the one I was kind of most excited about. I really like the size of it, I like the feel of it, and really like the double twist loop inside of here. But I just got to be honest, I mean, this almost is kind of the same amount of dryability that I think we got on the regular Dreadnought, which is only a 20 by 30, and I prefer the feel of that much more. It's a much thinner towel, a lot better for getting into, you know, intricate areas around. So yeah, not a super big fan of this one. Hoping the Diva might be a little bit better for me. Matching the weapons of mass drying, we have the Diva V2. This towel is meant for those of you that don't love huge GSM like the G.O.A.T that we're going to get to in a second. This is a 30 by 35 twist loop style towel, 1200 GSM, a 70-30 blend out of Korea for $34.99. There are also two different colors here, blue and pink, both with really, really nice edges and feel extremely high quality. So let's see how this feels. Wow. Night and day difference over the weapons of mass drying here. Really like the feel of it. It is quite thick, to be honest, especially for a 1200 GSM towel. You know, thinking back to the Liqud8r that is, off the top of my head, 1100 GSM, that feels a lot more maneuverable. This is also a little interesting of a size. It's a 30 by 35, so a little bit wider than you have with the Liqud8r, which means you have more overall towel, and more GSM here should pick up a little bit more water. So far, feeling pretty nice. It's just a little awkward for me. This is kind of big to do, and I don't really think this is necessarily ideal as well. So for my particular likings, yeah, just very different here. Let's head down to the side. All right, so as you can see, as I'm coming in here in the mirror, it's just a little awkward to handle. It's just a little thick for my particular liking. I know some of you, that's absolutely not a problem because you've got two hands and you're gonna stretch this towel. Holy cow though, I tell you what, this on the glass, that's pretty darn impressive. I mean, it just sucks everything up. It's leaving absolutely nothing behind there. So pretty intrigued by that, to say the least. Yeah, I definitely think I'm gonna do more of this type of situation. Look how it just picks up that water. That's pretty darn impressive there for sure. All right, let's get a fresh corner in here. Feels really, really nice all the way throughout there. Yeah, getting to know this towel a little bit for sure. I'm really impressed with the water pickup. I mean, it is absolutely nothing left behind, but I do feel like that weapons of mass drying there is leaving a little bit all over. I have high hopes for this one as we get through the rest of the car. The Diva here. All right, so I gotta say overall, pretty darn impressed with it. Now, this does feel like a lot thicker pile, like I said, than the Autofiber, than the Liqud8r, and that does also show in its dryability here. This did an exceptionally good job. So as I flip this over, it is freaking dry on the other side. So easily you could get, you know, darn near two entire 3-row SUVs. So I do think that is pretty impressive. For me, the size is slightly awkward. It's a little bit more of a square than a rectangle. I know it's still rectangular here, but man, this feels like a really, really high quality towel. I really appreciate the edges here. They've done a nice job. This is very similar to the Buttersoft edges that the Rag Company does. I think this is a great drying towel, and honestly, I wish I tried this before the weapons of mass drying, because I think I would have had a little bit better taste in my mouth for the House of Rags towels. But I'm pretty darn impressed with this one. Definitely up there in terms of the list for sure. I think a lot of you would really, really appreciate this. And again, just feels super high quality. This is absolutely bone dry on this side. Really impressive showing here. Let's get to the big boys now. Moving up in the GSM territory now, we have the G.O.A.T 1800. As the name suggests, 1800 GSM in a twist loop style with a 70-30 blend from Korea in a 20 by 28 towel. This retails for $40 here, and I'm curious to see if this is just a little bit too much in terms of GSM. Glides super nice there, folks. But again, this is a little bit awkward if you're using it one-handed like me, but holy cow, the suck up of that water, really impressive. Feels actually very different from the Diva, surprisingly. This has a little bit more coarseness to it, where the Diva, as well as the weapons of mass drying, kind of similar to the Amphibian, not quite as much, but have a little bit softer plush here. I think I kind of prefer this for sure. So this is pretty interesting showing here. I mean, wow, that is one swipe and the water is gone. All right, so let's check out how this does here. You're definitely not going to fold this into quarters and do that. Honestly, pretty darn manageable around things like mirrors. Wow, that is unbelievably impressive there on the glass for sure. I mean, there is nothing left over there. Pretty impressive showing here. Now, I will say, this is arguably on the edge of being a little too thick for me. You guys remember, didn't really love the 1500, but man, there is, you know, there's not much you can say there. That is like a completely and absolutely dry car there. Wow. All right, let's come in here. Yeah, still totally can get in there. Man, just insanity, the drying there. This is an impressive one. I think we're gonna have a crazy result here drying this thing down. All right, this one's got me honestly a little excited, which is why I'm showing you more. I mean, guys, what more do you need there? That is pretty incredible. I mean, just picks up every speck of water like it was never even there. So I have not flipped this towel whatsoever. It is absolutely bone dry up here. I just, with my wet side, dried the glass here. Unbelievable. Watch this. Absolutely bone frickin' dry up there. Guys, this towel is a flippin' beast. Holy guacamole. Okay, this is still my wet side. I have not even flipped this. I've already dried the entire roof. Wow, that is unbelievable. I mean, it's leaving like a very, very minor amount of water behind, but you're just letting the towel do its job there. That is flipping nuts. Well, I don't even think I need to tell you guys here because this thing blew me away. I mean, I'm putting my hand on this. Okay, it's damp in certain areas. This is one of the driest towels that have come off of the car, drying the entire thing. And then the crazy part about this, guys, I flip this over. This is absolutely bone dry, not even short of damp, anything like that. Wow, this is unbelievable. I think for the price point here too, you know, yes, it's a little expensive. It's, you know, roughly $40 off the top of my head here. It's a heck of a drying towel. The only couple of things for feedback I would give the House of Rags guys here. I really don't love the colors that come on the 1800. You get this fluorescent zombie colored green here, and you have the option of an orange. I personally really like the regular G.O.A.T colors. I haven't tried that towel yet, but what an absolute showing here. And I honestly never thought I would like square towels here. It's pretty darn good. Again, this is one that's a little tricky, right? If you want to use it like this, it's just a little, I mean, that is some plushness on there. So it is a thick boy, but you are going to be able to dry two of these cars absolutely zero problem without any sort of streaking. I mean, this thing is bone dry. I am absolutely blown away with this towel. Now we come to the biggest of all of our towels here, the House of Rags G.O.A.T V2. This is a 28 by 28 twist loop style towel at 2200 GSM. This is a 70-30 blend as well from Korea for $44.99. So definitely not cheap. You're definitely paying for all of that GSM. Bam. We got the big boy now. This is the G.O.A.T drying towel V2, and holy cow, this thing is an absolute beast. Now, if the showing of the G.O.A.T 1800 version was impressive, I'm kind of anticipating this is going to be just as wild. Yeah, freaking nuts so far. Now, the big question I think I'm going to have here, I do prefer the colors on this, as I just quickly touched on, but this is a little bit more expensive now, higher GSM. It's a little bit less manageable here using it single-handed. The one thing I'll tell you, kind of similar to the Autofiber Max XL or XL Max, forget the name at this point now, is it is a little bit less limp noodle on this as well. So it's got a little bit more robustness, but I mean, guys, what are we even doing here? That's freaking nuts. Really impressive here. Let's head down the side. All right, so no question to me, we're gonna have to take this towel and extend it out. I mean, this thing is like, the water has like magnetized now. I mean, that is flipping nuts. Look at the way this thing dries, guys. Wow. Okay, this is something different. I will say, holy cow, this thing's thick though. I think I kind of prefer the 1800, but if you like a super thick drying towel, I think you might have found it, folks. All right, so let's come on in here. Gosh, that is almost at the point of being like slightly too thick for a door handle, but holy cow. So we're still on one side of this towel. Now, what I wanna do, I wanna grab all the water up here from the spoiler still, and I wanna show you how this thing absolutely deletes water. Are you kidding me? Guys, I've been around a lot of microfiber drying towels. I don't think I've seen one do this crazy of a job. You got to remember, I've dried the entire hood, the entire front bumper, the entire passenger side, the entire driver's side, and I'm just now coming to the rear end, and I'm still on one side, and this side is bone dry. Right. This thing's insane, guys. I mean, yeah, it's, again, similar to the 1800. It's slightly damp on this side. And then you flip this thing over, it's genuinely bone dry. You can't even tell this was ever on a car. And I just deleted water off of this thing. Wow. I honestly didn't expect that. This is one of the most impressive drying towels, both of the G.O.A.Ts, that I think I have ever used. Now, again, I want to emphasize a little point over here. So this is the Diva drying towel, and this is the one I kind of thought I was going to be drawn to. It's a little bit less GSM. I really like the edges on here versus this. I still think, I mean, this just absorbs water like crazy, but I do like these edges on here. The thing I cannot convey through camera to you guys, this is kind of soft. This over here is slightly coarse, and my feelings from these two are completely different. This was a good drying towel. This is an amazing drying towel. And again, you can still see the plushness in it. And again, this is slightly damp, where this is quite a bit more wet over here. And again, I still have an entire side, which is absolutely nuts. So let me wrap this video up. I'm gonna rank my top 3 favorites here. Curious to see what you guys think. Well, guys, let's end this off with some final thoughts here. And I got to be honest with you, this video took way more time and way more effort than I thought, but I'm super glad we did this. I think I learned a lot more today. Hopefully you guys learned a few things about drying towels and things that I suggest and don't suggest. And again, at the end of the day, you need to make your own choice of what type of towel you prefer, but I hope I was able to help you along the way, describing some of the differences between them, because I think it's really overwhelming, especially when you go on one of these companies' websites, you look at all the different drying towels they have, and like, this GSM's this is this size and this price and and it can be confusing. And the crazy thing here is, you think about all of these, they're essentially all twist loop, and they all perform very differently. So over here at the Rag Company, I think a lot of hit and misses in my book. So again, you know, the slim dryer here, kind of a miss for me. I don't really think that's ever a towel I'm really ever going to use. Very similar to the G.O.A.T silk dryer, the Car Pro dryer as well. It's just not one of my favorites out there. I really wish this had 2 sides on it. And again, the 1500 here is actually a towel I'm really impressed by. I can't recommend it enough because of the potential dye transfer onto other towels that you're trying to keep nice, or wash mitts, and that just seems like an absolute mess. If you're one of those people who you really like this towel because there's really a lot to like here and can deal with washing this separately, okay, that's fine. For me at a shop here running a detailing business, I need to throw all my drying towels in there, throw all my wash mitts in there, and wash them as quickly as possible to get on to the next job. And again, the Liqud8r over here, still one of my favorites. Even after testing these, no, I don't think it's the best drying towel here. And that's one thing that really opened my eyes. But I think from the Rag Company, this is their highlight with a few kind of misses here for sure. Moving to Autofiber now, this is one that I was actually really impressed with. And again, I think I should be, because I really like their microfiber coating applicators here. I think they're just genuinely the best in the industry. For me, the 20x40 size is awkward. Maybe it's something that after I haven't just used a towel, well, essentially 3 times here, I could get more and more used to. But I was really impressed by the Max XL here. I really like the thickness of it, the ability, you know, even to be able to get it into tighter areas versus even something over here like the 1500. It's definitely a lot thinner and works amazingly well. I was also really impressed with the regular Dreadnought, the Dreadnought XL here. Again, it's just a sizing thing that's weird. The Amphibian, I don't know. That's a drying towel, I guess, just isn't for me. I don't quite understand it. The Mother Fluffer on there, Mother Fluffer, whatever the heck the name's called on there. It's a funny name. It's an interesting concept. Again, you guys can see I really like drying towels that have 2 of the same things on both sides. It's the same when it comes to any of my towels I use for polishing, coating residue, buy a towel and have that on all sides. You know, if you need another style of towel, buy another style of towel. Now, the House of Rags over here was an interesting one because I know a lot of you have been commenting that I need to try their products, and I'm super glad that I did. Now, again, like with all of these, I think there's a few highlights here and there's a few misses. For me, the weapons of mass drying, I don't know, it's not a towel that I guess is for me. I don't like the feel of it on the actual vehicle. I don't think it has, you know, the absorption that I necessarily expected it to. I was pretty underwhelmed by that towel. Now the Diva is one that I came into expecting to really like, right? Because I'd been talking about, you know, with the Liqud8r over here, I don't really like a super thick plush towel. So I expected the Diva to be kind of somewhere in the middle, had those smooth edges on it, and was really excited to try this. And when I tried it, I was like, okay, this isn't so bad. And then I tried the G.O.A.T 1800 and I'm just like, throw the Diva away. I don't even care about that thing anymore. And this is where my brain gets a little confused, right? Because the 1800 has never been a towel that I've looked into, but that thing absolutely blew me away. Both of the G.O.A.T towels. I think after going back and forth in my head about it, I do personally feel like the 2200 G.O.A.T V2, the original G.O.A.T there, it's just too big, at least for my use case of it. So I personally think the highlight for me here is absolutely the G.O.A.T 1800. My only drawback with this, I absolutely hate the colors that these towels come in. Now I know for a lot of you, not a big deal, but you guys can see how I take care of my shop here. I like things very clean, very minimal. Having a zombie pea green here is not necessarily my favorite thing, nor is a super bright orange. So what I would love to see is take that 1800 and make more neutral colors, make them blue, make them black. I don't care what you do with them. I just don't want super fluorescent colors. So again, I think my highlights are right here at the 1800. I really like the Max, what the heck is the name of this thing at this point? Whatever this one is, I'll put it right here on the screen. My brain is scrambled at this point, and the Liqud8r. Now, between those, I think you have an amazing setup of towels. And again, I think it's cool, like on the Liqud8r, you can get them in smaller sizes for just wiping up extra bits if you decide to go with that. But man, I'm pretty impressed and very, very happy that we did this. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Hopefully this was an informative video for you guys. Got a big edit for you guys, tons of B-roll on this one. Tried to make this as nice as humanly possible. And I'm also excited to do this again. So those towels that were the highlights from this video, I'd like to try clean some other Microfiber Madness towels for our next test, and anything else that you guys might recommend that you want to see in a similar test style like this. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in another one soon. Bye-bye.